Yo, Marcus, easy, what's up? Peace and blessings to everyone. What's up? What's up, Arizona? He said, here we go. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know what? I got the information from Dave early Saturday morning about what happened, about the invasion. I knew it wouldn't be long before they go in there. I knew it, because I've been like, wait a minute, they've been there for almost, those aircraft carriers and those warships are there, they've been there for a while. They've been there for a while, so I knew, hey, what's up, Joseph, what's up, what's up? Yeah, here we go, Arizona. Yeah, you're right, man. Oh man. And then what's crazy about it, they actually captured him. They actually captured him and his wife. And I expect Maduro to put up a little bit more of a fight. It was like they just got him, they snatched him up, and they took him away. This is crazy, man. This is very, very crazy. Yeah, you sent it right to me. Yeah, Marcus. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it, man. I saw it, man. Yeah, thanks, Marcus, for sending it to me. Yeah, it is insane, man. But do I think he made the? I know people are divided about what happened, but me personally, I think he made a big mistake. I'm gonna tell y'all the reason why. Yeah, the Delta Force is good. Yeah, he had the Delta Force. Yeah, the elite group. Yeah, the Delta Force. But this whole situation. See, let me tell y'all this. Let me tell y'all this, man. Let me tell y'all this. I'm not Democrat. I am not Republican. I'm not conservative nor liberal. Nothing. When I bring you guys stuff, I bring you guys facts. Okay? I go by the facts. And I go by for every action that's going to be a counter reaction. You say I was so confused because I expected to get down. I expected to get down for the get. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I did too. But it's not over yet. It's not over. I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the reason about that too. We go. I'm gonna bring. I'm going to bring all this stuff up to you guys. You know, if you're on this channel for the first time, make sure you hit that like button, guys. When you come in here, hit that like, okay? So the algorithm, so YouTube can push this video out. The more you guys like it, the more YouTube recommend this video. So you be helping me. I appreciate it, okay? You say, don't worry, Tony. Tony, me and you talk. Hey, you gotta know. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the reason why this was a bad decision. Okay. I know some of y'all probably said, well, you don't like Trump. You don't like anything he does, anything. I didn't like I didn't like a lot of things that Biden did either. I didn't like things that Obama did. I don't like things that George W. Bush did. But what I see, it's like a repeat of blunders over and over and over. And it seems like that we don't learn our lesson when we do these things. You know what I'm saying? Uh-oh. Like I got a troll here. Like, who's this? NGA, who's that? What is that? What's that? NGA, what is that? Uh-oh, I think I got a bad troll here. Yep, they've been removed. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know who that was all about, but I got rid of that. Yeah, I didn't. Let me see. Hold on. Get more of this. Okay. Yeah, it seems like we haven't learned our lesson. We haven't learned our lesson. I'm getting ready to explain it to you what I'm talking about. Okay. Because let me tell you guys something. The international community is pissed. The world is pissed. Even our European allies is pissed at what's happened. Because what happened was it was against international law. It was against international law. And what he's doing, see, what Trump is doing, he think he's doing the right things, but he's doing the wrong things. He's pushing people away. He's pushing people to China and the BRICS. Because when you see a country that behaves this way, what it does is, hey, how you doing? Hey, well, I got a lot of new people right here. Okay. All of you all make sure you like and subscribe to my new channel. How you doing, Hud? How y'all doing? Good to see y'all. You're cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what we are doing is we're slowly pushing people away, and we push them to a point where they don't want to do trade with us anymore. That's what's going to happen, because South Africa, they're pissed. Ramaphosa say he's going to take this to the UN Security Council. What they did, and it was illegal. What they did, it really was. Yeah, talk about we're going to have our own oil. Wow, wow. But I don't understand why the people was out there. I don't. Let me tell you about the people that was out there dancing. I'm going to tell you. I've seen this before. I've seen this before. He said Trump is winning every day. It has to hurt. No, he's not. I'm sorry. And you know what? I supported him the first time. But this time, I said, no, no, no. I supported him before. Believe it or not, I supported him before. But these decisions that he's making lately is not good decisions. And I would say that to anybody. I would say that to anybody. I would say that to Obama. I would say that to Biden. I would say if something that they do that I disagree with, that you're going the wrong direction, I will let them know. If you say that enough, that you start to believe. Yeah, right. Absolutely, absolutely. Because you 76, you be putting all that stuff on the screen. I don't know what that is, brother. I thought you was a troll, man. Do you think the oil prices will go up? Yep, the oil price is going to go up. Yep, the oil prices are going to go up. I voted for him before. I mean, the first time, I think he did a much better job the first time. I really do. I think Trump did a much better job. I don't know. Even his core supporters that supporting him don't like what he's doing now, because on his campaign, he promised us that he will not fight wars on other countries and things anymore. That he was going to be more a domestic president, you know. But man, he's been all over the place. But this thing with Venezuela, that's not. I don't think it was a good decision. I'm going to tell y'all the reason why. So I blame the people that voted for him. Yeah, 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 yeah. America. Yeah, some of them. I don't know. He's losing his core supporters in MAGA. A lot of MAGA supporters don't like what he's doing. Trump is for king. Well, I don't. Let me tell you this. Y'all gonna learn some things today, and not about Trump, but this whole systematic thing that we'll keep doing over and over again. Oh, sorry, my goodness, hold on. This thing that we keep doing over and over again that we haven't learned from it yet. Okay, we still haven't learned our lesson yet. We still have not learned our lesson yet. But going into Venezuela against international law was a bad. I mean, we got allies that said it was against the law to do that. You can't. Let me tell you this. This is supposed to be a country of laws. If you don't have laws, then you have rogue countries to be able to do whatever they want to do. That's why we have a UN Security Council for. That's why we have laws in this country. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine living in a country where everybody can do what they want to do and break the law and have no consequences? It doesn't matter if you're Trump or not. It doesn't matter. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You say he done what others would do. No, 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 no. You have to remember this. Venezuela is a sovereign country. Just like you have your own house. You live with your kids. So you just reach because you don't like him. No, I don't like what he is doing. I told you, I have supported. There's some things he's doing. I just don't like what he's doing. I think he's making a mistake. I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because we've been down this road before. We've been down this before. You all just don't remember. See, there's a spider behind me. Oh, you crazy. Well, there's a lot of trolls on you tonight. Yeah, you know what? I got a video about what happened to my voice. The night that I woke up and I lost my voice. It goes through, I have a whole video. Check my playlist. Subscribe to my channel and check my playlist. Yeah, something really happened to my voice, but the doctor's going to try to help it out, try to fix it. But it's a long story. Long story. Long story. And I did a video on that. And check out my playlist. The Tony Rome playlist is on there. And I tell you exactly how my voice became this way. I'm going to put it like this. I'm lucky to be alive. Put it like that. I'm lucky to be standing here with you guys. It could have been much worse what happened to me. Okay. He said, we're going to come and lock you up. Okay. So what will you do, bro? Okay. What's up? What's up, Sonny? What's up? What's up, Sonny? How you doing? Okay, let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. Okay. Let's go back. I'm going to refresh our memory. The reason why this was a mistake. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the reason why. I'm gonna educate y'all. You remember back in 2001? Is everybody listen? I want everybody listening because what I'm telling you is very important. Is everybody listening? Hey, what's up, Dave? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, they always end up badly, right? Badly in civil wars, Guatemala, Chile, El Salvador. That's what I'm saying. They've done this before. And it always ends bad. That's the reason why I told y'all he's making a mistake. Because we've been down this road before multiple times. We've been down this road before multiple times. Let me go back. Let me tell y'all. Let me go back. Back in 2001, I remember some of y'all probably wasn't born then, or y'all were just little kids. The World Trade Center was attacked, okay, by terrorists. World Trade Center, okay. George W. Bush was president at the time, okay. So you should try pooping while standing in your wow, Jax. Well, there's a lot of trolls here tonight, boy. Hey, what's up, Easy? Yeah, we welcome you, man. Yeah, you're a member. All right, right. We got a new member. Easy, you're a member now. Okay, good. Thank you, man. Yeah, welcome, man. And then I'm gonna put you on my matter of fact, send me a message on the WhatsApp app group at 248-653-9666. 248-653-9666. It's called the Tony Rome. Um, it's called the Tony Rome Wealth Building Group. Okay, welcome, man. Welcome to the group. Okay, thank you for coming a member. All right, and I just put out a video last Friday, so you can go ahead and check that video out. I just posted, and make sure you send me a message on WhatsApp too, and I can add you to the group, brother. Okay, okay. He was well. I got a lot of man. There's a lot of trolls on here. Oh my God, where all these trolls come from? Oh my God. Brother, I'm here in New York, witnessed 9/11 question. Where was the camera set up to catch the attack? It wasn't an inside job. Well, I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. Okay. I'm just gonna stay on the subject. Okay. I'm just gonna well, anyway, there was attack on the World Trade Center, and George W. Bush was president. Okay. And we found out there was terrorists, Al Qaeda, all of them had some, that was responsible for the attacks, right? So we found out it was Osama bin Laden, that was responsible for everything. That was the story that they gave us and everything. And I remember he got on television, he rallied everybody behind him. He rallied everybody behind, said, we got to go after these people. These people are dangerous. They're very dangerous. We got to, you know, um, go after these people, because they're a national security threat, which I agree with him. I was with him 100%. Then all of a sudden, he turns and said that we need to go get Saddam Hussein. Okay? Go to Iraq, the war in Iraq. So I say, so how did we go from going after, um, what's the name of that guy? Oh my God, I lost my thought. Osama bin Laden to Saddam Hussein. Then he began to talk about, that we need to go and, he has weapons of mass destruction. He talked about that. He was rallying the people just like what Trump is doing now, rallying the people about how dangerous the drugs and stuff is coming. And I agree with him. There are drugs that's coming from different places that's hurting Americans. He's right about that. He's right about that. Okay. But a lot of our fentanyl is not really coming from Venezuela. It's actually coming from Mexico. Actually, it is. Okay. So let me finish. So it was called Operation Desert Storm. We went into Iraq and we toppled Saddam Hussein. Okay. I remember we went in there, we found him, um, we took him away. I don't know exactly what they did with him, but I remember the whole thing. I remember the whole thing. And the Iraqis were dancing in the street. They were dancing in the streets. Like, wow, we got rid of Saddam. Saddam was a bad guy, which he probably was. I'm not saying that he wasn't, but we went into that country for nation building, saying that we're going in there for a purpose to get rid of a person that had weapons of mass destruction. But guess what? We found out that there was no weapons of mass destruction that was there. It wasn't. And then from there, we launched attacks in Afghanistan to fight terrorists that was associated with the Taliban. And that war lasted for over 10 years, fighting the Taliban. Okay? But let me tell you what happened in Iraq, because I'm seeing the same exact thing that's happening with this same narrative. Let me tell you what happened in Iraq. We came in as liberators. Liberators. And people say, oh, we thank you, George Bush. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for getting rid of Saddam. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just like I'm seeing these people dancing on the street. Thank you, but thank you, Trump, for getting rid of Maduro. Thank you, thank you. The people. I mean, matter of fact, I don't know if you guys heard of a guy named Miko Worldwide. Miko sent me a video of Venezuelans in the Dominican Republic out like partying, dancing, like having parades that they're glad what they did to Maduro when they went into Venezuela. So there's some people they want to see Maduro gone, and then there's some people that felt that it's a crime against humanity, and that we don't have the right to come into a sovereign country and change that country. You know, there's people actually, saying that that was wrong. But let me tell you how things changed in Iraq when we went over there. This is back in 2003. Okay. First, we came in as liberators, but as the troops stayed there in Iraq, then we became occupiers. First, they welcomed us, then they wanted us to go. And that's when the sectarian violence became a nightmare there. And lots of people became unalive. It was horrible. It was a horrible fight. And then when I look back and I said, okay, what did we accomplish? What did we accomplish there? It's a failed state now. All that work we did and everything that we put in, what did we get out of it? Nothing. Same thing in Afghanistan. We was trying to change that country, right? Trying to make it a democracy, right? We was fighting the Taliban. Talk about we're going to bring democracy to the country and the girls will be able to go to school because in the Taliban does not allow women to work. They don't allow them to go to school or get an education. Let me see. You say pick a side. I don't understand what you mean, Marcus. What you mean by pick a side? No, no, no. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when we came in back in 2003 at Desert Storm to liberate Iraq from Saddam Hussein, it was the same thing. It was the same exact thing, Marcus. It was the same exact thing. They were happy at first. They were dancing and everything. They took his statue down. Because there are some people that don't like Maduro. They think he's corrupt and that he rigged the election and everything. So there are going to be people that's going to celebrate it. Marcus? I'm saying that's the way it starts. First, they like you, and then as long as you stay there, then you become an occupier. Then they want you out. Then they'll change on you. Then they'll try to hurt you or unalive you. That's what happened in Iraq. And that lasted a while. I mean, a lot of men and women, our men and women, got unalived and injured in that war over there and in Afghanistan. So look what happened in Afghanistan, okay? So we tried to liberate that country, right? We tried to change that country. We tried to change them. But guess what? During the Biden administration, we left Afghanistan and left the people there to fend for themselves against. And guess who came and took over again? The Taliban. Guess who owns Afghanistan right now? The Taliban. Look at the Vietnam War. Who's controlling Vietnam when we fought them in the 60s? When we invaded that country, the North Vietnamese won. And they are, and guess what? Today, they are still there. The Communist Party of Vietnam is still there. So what I'm trying to tell you, all these wars that we have fought, it doesn't end well. And the thing that's happened in Venezuela will not end well. Because look at the past. Look at the past. Look at the past. It never ends well. And then Trump said that we're going to stay there we're going to take over. We're going to take over around until we put somebody that know what they're doing. How can you do that to a sovereign country? How? That's what I'm saying. How? How can you do that to a sovereign country? The international, we have laws, guys. So what's going to happen is all these countries that see this, they ain't gonna want to do trade with us anymore. They ain't gonna want to use the dollar because we are going into a multipolar world where countries are using their own currency and using the digital currency away from the US dollar. This is what the United States gets its strength from the reserve currency of the dollar. That's what's going on. And the international community is condemning what happened. And this is going to hurt us more than help us. It is. I'm sorry. Because I'm looking at it from an economical standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. No, actually, you know what? There's a shift that's happening right now in the world right now. That the United that the U.S. is losing its global influence in the world right now. There's a shift that's happening right now with the global South called BRICS. Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, and then you got 17 other countries that wants to join the BRICS, called the BRICS Plus. It's happening as we speak. Because I'm gonna tell you another thing that we messed up, that we made a mistake, is that we weaponized our monetary system. You can't. The problem with the U.S. I'm gonna tell you the problem. I'm just trying to get constructive criticism. People look at us as a bully. A bully. Like you have a club in your hand, you do what I tell you to do. If you don't tell me I do, I put sanctions on you, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You should never, never, never weaponize the monetary reserve system. Never do that. Because let me tell you what happened when they made a mistake. When Russia invaded Ukraine, we put sanctions on Russia, on Vladimir Putin. Okay? And what they did was they froze $210 billion worth of Russian reserves. They froze them. Okay? It's like I'm a country, right? And I invest in treasury bonds from the US, and then I hold my treasuries in US banks, right? But then I do something wrong, we have beef with each other, and then you turn around and you freeze my assets. So, well, we're going to freeze all your money that you gave, that's here in our banks and everything, because we're going to put sanctions on you. What that creates, it creates people not saying that we trust the system. It creates uncertainty. Barbara, how you doing? How you doing? It's so good to see you, Barbara. How you been? I got something I want you guys to. You know what? We got 33 people on this live. Only 9 likes, man. Come on, man. Help your brother out. Enjoy my wealth building too, guys. Hit that join button. Join my wealth building community. Okay. I'm doing videos. I did one video this Friday. I'm gonna do another one this Friday. Wealth is very important, especially what's getting ready to happen, man. There's getting ready to be a big shift economically that's getting ready to happen, and we all need to be prepared for what's going to happen, okay? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's slowly going away. And what Trump did with Venezuela, it made it worse. I mean, I'm talking about I'm talking about worldwide. People are on edge, and they're like, oh no, we want to do trade with the U.S. anymore. Matter of fact, did you know? I showed you guys a video. Canada is moving its supply chain to China. They say they're leaving the U.S. Canada was one of our biggest trading partners. And they say they don't want to trade with us anymore. They go into Asia, they go into China. So Trump doesn't know when he does things like this, he pushes countries to China because China and the BRICS looks more attractive. When you have a rogue country that's attacking other countries like this makes people don't want to have nothing to do with you. I'm scared of you. What are you doing? He said the U.S. had to, but there's nothing wrong with being a major player in the world, but you can't be a bully. That's what it is. It's like being married to a female. It's like, just imagine if I was married to a female, right? We was married, and I'm always shouting at her all the time. Always like, you get in there, you fix me something to eat. And she makes my bath water. It's not hot enough. Come back here and make it, and make it more hotter or something. And then she cooks your food, and then you say, I don't like this. This doesn't taste right. You always, if you always abusive to a woman or bullying her or whatever, eventually she's gonna leave you. She's gonna like, I won't have nothing to do with this anymore. You're doing things to want her to stay, but at the same time, you're pushing her away. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, muddy waters, yeah. Yeah, she's gonna leave you, yes. Yeah, she's gonna, that's what I'm saying. It's like Trump is like he's like a man with a billy club. We coming after you next if you do this. We're gonna take Afghanistan. We're gonna take Greenland and the Panama Canal and stuff. You know, now you have Greenland doing military exercise because they think that we may come invade them. Greenland. Greenland is afraid of us. You know, if I was able to speak with him, I would sit down and I to explain to you. I say, sir, I supported you the first year, the first administration. You had some very good ideas. You had some very great ideas. Because I'm not saying everything. There's some things that he says that I still don't like that he said, but he did come with some really good ideas. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. He did last year. I mean, not last year, but his first term. Like bring all the manufacturing back to the states. I agree with that. I agree with that. But then he would say something real stupid, that I would have to try to defend him. I defended him. Even things he said that was wrong. I still defended him anyway because I supported him. Yes, I was. Yes, I did. But the second time around, I have no idea what he's. I have. It's like I don't know exactly. I was like, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. He's way off. I'm sorry, sir. You know what? China just said a few hours ago, they said they want him released immediately. Countries around the world say they want Maduro to be freed immediately, now. Russia, Putin said, we want him to be free immediately because when, now, I'm not pro Maduro. I don't like Maduro or I don't hate Maduro. I don't know who Maduro is. But only thing I'm saying is that Venezuela is a sovereign country that should have nothing to do with us. What he's doing, he's pushing everybody away because they're talking about right now stop doing trade with us. They're gonna stop doing trade with us. That means that it's like our supply chain is gonna be gone. Nobody's gonna buy cars from us. Nobody's gonna buy our produce. Nobody's gonna buy nothing. People are gonna say, you know what? We're gonna look elsewhere to do trade with. You have to do things by the law. You have to. You have to. We have laws that prohibit this type of thing, and that's what the international community is saying. Yeah, their message to the world. Yeah, and they want Maduro to be released immediately. That's what China just said. They said we want him to be released immediately. I got something special I want you guys to hear. This guy here, he's going to bring it home. And I want y'all to listen what he says. Okay? Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. And he's going to explain the reason why the U.S., the real reason why they invaded Venezuela. Okay? And it goes back to what I've been telling y'all. It's like deja vu all over again. Because in 2003, I heard the same thing, the same narrative against Saddam Hussein. Now I'm hearing a different narrative with Maduro. It's the same thing, the same theatrics. That's what it is. But what I'm trying to tell you, we all going to end up the same way like we end before. Okay? Waste of time, waste of money. Like, for example, we was in Afghanistan for over 10 years fighting the Taliban. You know how much that war cost in Afghanistan that we fought? $4 trillion. And let me ask you a question. We spent $4 trillion for that war in Afghanistan. What do we have to show for? Nothing. Nothing. $4 trillion is burned. Yes, they do. They do have resources. Yes, they do. Afghanistan do have some type of resources there. Not as much as because what Venezuela have that other countries don't have. I'm gonna tell you what Venezuela have. Venezuela is the number one. They have the number one oil reserve in the world. Number one, even more than Saudi Arabia. They have the most. They have the biggest oil reserve in the world. It's estimated at 303 billion barrels of oil. Okay? So just do the math, okay? Listen to this guy.
So there's a war happening that no one's really talking about, and it's not actually in the Middle East.
So tonight I want to talk about going to war. Going to war not with China, not with Iran, but going to war with Venezuela because it could be coming sooner than you think. Take a look at this.
Breaking news, a dramatic U.S.-led escalation in the Caribbean. What the Navy calls the largest warship ever built, along with fighter jets, heading to the waters off Latin America.
So for a few months now, the U.S. has been working on something that kind of looks a lot like a regime change in Venezuela. And this story caught my attention because as I'm getting older, I see the same story told again and again, but this time it's a lot easier for me to see through the narrative, and it's really interesting to break down.
You hear what he said? You hear what he said? It's the same story. We hear it over and over. We've been through this before. We've been through this. It's like deja vu all over again. Yeah, it is scary. Yeah, Eric, it's scary to travel overseas now. It is. This is actually opens the door for China to take over Taiwan. Yep. That's gonna be the next thing. Yes, they're gonna take over Taiwan. But China has a very sophisticated supply chain, though, man. They are economically they are kicking our butt, man. China and the BRICS countries. Let me tell y'all this before I play this audio again. Remember the U.S. is only 2% of the world population. Okay, 2%. No, I think it's like 4%. Let me see how much percent. I think we're like 4% of the population of the whole world, the United States. We're only like 4%. Okay. Um, the G7 represents 37% of GDP of the world. The G7. It's 37%. We talk about Japan and all those G7 countries, that come together. Who else is in the G7? I can't remember all, but they make up about 37% of the GDP, in the world. China and the BRICS, close to 50% of GDP. They don't need us anymore. How you think Russia survived the sanctions on him? How you think Putin did that? When they froze his assets, you know what I'm saying, and kicked him off the SWIFT system. How you think he was mad? How you think he managed to survive? He tapped into the BRICS. That's what he did. Sir, what is a good prayer to fortify the faith of the man? I don't know, Rob. I wish I could tell you. He said they pray. Well,
Psychology of how a government sells a story and an idea to its people. So, why is the US so interested in Venezuela? Why is it happening right now?
okay, pay attention, y'all. Pay
The
attention.
news tells us it's about democracy, it's about human rights, the war on drugs.
The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel.
Nicolas Maduro is an indicted drug trafficker.
I announced a $50 million reward for his capture.
But there is another story. The story is about oil and power and the war to stop China and Russia from getting control over the idea of what money will be in the future. And Venezuela is a very important part of this story. Venezuela happens to be a country with the biggest oil reserves on earth, even more than Saudi Arabia.
Remember I told you guys? I told you that Venezuela has the biggest reserve in the world. They're at the top, they're number one. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Iran, more than any of the other OPEC countries that produces oil. You guys know what OPEC is. It's called the Organization of Petroleum Exchange Countries. It's like 10 countries that come together and they create what you call OPEC that exports oil out of the Middle East. Venezuela is number one.
But going to war is very unpopular. So how do you sell the idea of war to people? And there's a couple different ways that the government does this. For example, if the drug war narrative doesn't convince you because you're like, I don't really care about that, then maybe an economic angle will resonate better. We're doing it to fight the socialists because capitalism's clearly better, right? But if that doesn't work, maybe appealing to your patriotism and your values will. We're fighting for democracy, protecting freedom, stopping human rights abuses, right? There's always some moral angle to sell an unpopular idea so that we can step in and fix all the wrongs in this world.
Yeah.
This time it's not Iraq, it's not Libya, it's Venezuela, which again is a country that happens to be sitting on more oil than anyone else on earth. It's also a country that happens to be very closely aligned with China, Russia, and even Iran, which are all against US interests. Because keep in mind, this is happening in a time when the US is losing control over strategic resources and losing control over dollar leverage. Every barrel of oil that goes to China, every shipment that bypasses the dollar, effectively weakens the influence of the United States.
Did y'all just hear that? You see that? As you getting it now? I'm giving y'all the truth now. I'm going down the rabbit hole. I'm going down the rabbit hole. Did y'all just get that? See, people be missing this. You remember I told you how important the dollar is? You remember? And guess what Maduro was back in 2025. I think it was like in February or March, if I'm not mistaken. He was encouraging Russia during the BRICS meeting. And what he was doing was he was making partnerships with Russia, China, South Africa, okay? So in order to get, they put one thing about Venezuela, the reason why they were so broke, Venezuela had over 150 sanctions put on them. When they put sanctions on you, you cannot trade. You cannot do trade. You cannot sell your oil. You cannot do nothing. Oh, thank you, Stan, for the super sticker. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, when they put sanctions on you, they kick you off the SWIFT system. Some of y'all probably even know what the SWIFT system is. It's a dollar system. It's a payment system that's used internationally when buying things in dollars. Okay. Like if I want to do, like for example, when I take my credit card out, when I go out to dinner with my girlfriend or go shopping, and they take that payment from the credit card, it goes through the SWIFT system. It's an economic system that's traded in dollars. It goes through banks, it goes through New York and everything. It's a very sophisticated transaction that's made called the SWIFT. So if they kick you off the SWIFT, you can't do trade, you can't do nothing. But what he was doing was, what countries are doing, that's living under these sanctions, is that they're doing trade with other currencies, like the petro yuan that Saudi Arabia is doing with China. Okay? So now you have other countries that's not using dollars anymore. If you got all these countries not using dollars anymore, then the US becomes weaker.
That's what this is really about. But the official story sounds like something you might have heard before. The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro's regime, is corrupt. He's starving his people.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, it was easy.
Silencing
Yeah,
journalists and
yeah.
rigging elections, and all of that is true. Venezuela has collapsed. People are hungry. Millions of people want to leave the country.
Right.
It is one of the worst humanitarian crises out there right now. But the uncomfortable truth is that that's not why the US cares. If this was about human rights, we'd see the same anger toward countries like Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, and other places. So then, why aren't we told the real reason this is happening? It's because if you tell people this is about oil and controlling China's access to energy, very few people would support that. But if you say it's about saving people, then you start to feel good. It's an appeal to your morality. And Venezuela, whether it realizes it or not, is caught in the middle of a much bigger story.
Yes.
And that's the story I want to explain in today's video.
Listen,
With that said,
y'all.
Let's get into it. Hi, my name is Honorary Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the oil. Now, before I explain what's actually happening, I want to first share with you the official story, and it's the story that we're all told about. And the goal of this video is for you to just understand that a lot of things can all be true at once, but some things are more true than others. And
that's true. That's true. Hold on. Let's see. Land is cheap there. Yeah, it is cheap. Yeah, absolutely. Also, did you know that because of Venezuela has suffered from many economic collapses in the past, that's why they are poor. Yeah, actually, you know what? When Hugo Chavez was this is, let me tell y'all what happened in Venezuela to put them in this situation that they're in right now. Years ago, Venezuela was a very rich country. Okay, it was a very rich country, more richer than Colombia, actually, because of its oil. Okay, and you had another president there. His name was Hugo Chavez. Okay, and what you did was you had American companies used to be in Venezuela, like ExxonMobil and Sunoco, and all of them were there in Venezuela, um, um, using Venezuelan oil, selling Venezuelan oil. Okay, and there was processing it and everything at the same time. Okay, well, what happened was Hugo Chavez, he kicked everybody out. Okay, he kicked American companies out, and he wanted to nationalize the oil, not just for corporations, but for the government. And that's when things went down the hill. When the American companies left, they put sanctions on him and everything. And that's what made Venezuela poor. That's what happened. Let me see for me, the economic collapse. But yeah, that's why they dealt with the economic collapse, because they had very high inflation. Because if you cut off the SWIFT system, if you cut out, when they put sanctions on you, you cannot trade oil, you cannot trade commodities, you cannot trade anything. It really hurts your economy. It really does.
See what I mean throughout the video. So let me start with what we're told. The official story, which is finally starting to be talked about. The first angle is arguably the one that's going to appeal to most people's common sense values, and that's the war on drugs. The US government says Venezuela has become a hub for narco-terrorism. Drug traffickers are using the country to flood the US with cocaine and fentanyl.
Everybody hit that like button, subscribe to the channel.
That sounds like something we can all get behind, because that would be a national security threat, right? But there's a problem. Because according to the DEA's own data, almost all fentanyl in the US comes from Mexico, not Venezuela.
You hear that? Most of the fentanyl that's coming into this country comes through Mexico. It doesn't come from Venezuela.
And what does come through Venezuela is just a fraction of what's trafficked around the world.
Right.
Maybe 10% at most. In fact, you might even remember earlier this year, the president was punishing Canada for being a proxy of fentanyl.
The fentanyl coming through Canada is massive. The fentanyl coming through Mexico is massive.
So Canada is arguably the bigger offender here. But we're told that Venezuela is the new Colombia, right? And why is that? It's because of the way it's framed. Because if you call something a drug problem, then that's a small law enforcement issue. But if you call it narco-terrorism, then that's a pretense for a war. And once you declare a war, you do not need approval from Congress. You don't need evidence. You can just go to war.
On Inauguration Day, President Trump signed an executive order paving the way to label drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
So it's very important that the first step of any story like this one is that you have to reclassify the threat to a group of terrorists, not criminals, because that gives the U.S. legal and political cover to launch operations in Venezuela and even allow drone strikes, which the U.S. has also been doing. So step one, always the same. Create a boogeyman, call it a threat, and get the public to support the idea that this is...
Hey, Lucas, what's wrong? You say I'm a grandpa? No, I'm not a grandpa. I wish I was. I wish I was a grandpa. You say I'm dating your grandma. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I never met your grandma before. No, I'm not no grandpa, bro. Nope. Nope.
About morality. It's the right thing to do, right? Okay, but maybe some of us don't really care all that much about the drug problem because it doesn't really personally affect us, so who cares? And that's why there's another narrative that we're told about, and that's the narrative of socialism. This is the part of the story that says Venezuela is
he's talking about he's moving to Venezuela. Skyland, wow.
The country collapsed because of corruption, bad planning, and government control, and that is true. Venezuela has been through one of the worst economies in modern history. Their hyperinflation has destroyed anyone who's tried to save money. Their currency has become worthless. Millions of people have left the country, and yes, that happened under a corrupt socialist government. But here's the part I think less people know about. Because while it is true that socialism and corruption played a role in it, it is also true that the U.S. never really wanted Venezuela to succeed because sanctions made by the U.S. made everything a lot worse.
So you hear what he said? Did y'all get what he said? The reason why Venezuela is so poor? Because all the sanctions that they put on Venezuela made them poor. So when Maduro went to meet Putin and Xi Jinping at the BRICS meeting back in 2025, he was trying to go around the sanctions. That's what happened. That's what the U.S. didn't like. Because he was creating partnerships with China and Russia. Yeah, they was going around the sanctions, right? Because, like you said, you have Venezuela, which is the number one oil reserve in the world. And then you have something called the Monroe Doctrine too.
Over the years, the U.S. has imposed more than 150 separate sanctions on Venezuela. It did things like block its ability to trade with other countries.
Right.
The U.S. did not want it to sell oil, and it did not want it to access global markets. By 2020, Venezuela's GDP went down by about 30%, which is catastrophic. Now, while all of that was happening, the media was also showing us videos of empty grocery shelves and starving families as proof that socialism has failed and they need to be rescued. But it's also left out that those same families couldn't import food or medicine because U.S. restrictions were there. So yes, it is true the Venezuelan government created their own crisis, but the sanctions made sure that they didn't have the tools to recover. But it didn't really matter, right? Because the story was so effective. Because I think it fits perfectly into the story that most Americans kind of already believe, which is capitalism is freedom.
Thank you.
Countries that reject our system.
Thank you, Stan, for the super chat. Thank you very much. Wow, this has been a good live tonight. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me see how many people we got on here. We got 31 people, 11 likes. Hey, y'all keep hitting that subscribe button and keep hitting that like button. We got 31 people in here, and we only got 11 likes. Yeah, just keep doing it. Because those likes really help YouTube a lot, because they will take the video and they will recommend it. They say, wow, look at all these. The algorithm looks at it and says, wow, look at all these likes. Man, we need to recommend this video. So they keep recommending it, and it just helps the channel snowball. So I appreciate it. So you understand what he's saying so far. This is the reason why we are where we are today, okay, with Venezuela. That's why the invasion happened, okay?
Them are sort of destined to fail. It's a really powerful psychological technique that reinforces that we were right all along.
Right.
So when I hear politicians say, we got to help Venezuela, it's sort of self-servingly a way of saying, we got to save them from themselves.
Right.
Again, it reinforces this idea that there's only one model left standing that could ever work, which is, of course, our own.
Yep.
Now, let's say you're like, okay, I don't really care, though, about any of this. Not the economics, not about the drugs part. None of that really concerns me. Well, that's fine, because there's a third narrative that's going to convince anyone who's left. And here's the third narrative. This is the one that's arguably the most powerful of all, because it is the simplest.
Okay.
Now, before I explain it, here's something I've been personally doing to stack sats while this plays out with the Gemini credit card, the sponsor of this segment, and it's a card I've been using for a while now. All opinions are my own and noble to support. And that's partially because there's truth to it. Nicolas Maduro has consolidated power. The leaders who opposed him have been arrested. Protesters have been crushed. Elections have been heavily controlled. And there is a long, long history of corruption.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, okay, I'll repeat this again. I'm not saying Maduro was a saint. I'm not saying that he was a good dude. I'm not saying every bad. He could have been corrupt. Okay? What I'm looking at is the principle of the whole thing. Okay? Yes, he could have been a bad politician. He could have, he could have been corrupt. He could have done some bad things. But so do other dictators and other leaders in other countries too. So why don't we go after them? Why we don't go after them? Right? What I'm saying is Venezuela is a sovereign country. Sovereign. Sovereign means it belongs to them, it belongs to the people, not to us. No one has the right to go in and invade another country. But he makes the narrative about the drug thing, and then he turns around, then he talks about the oil. I say, okay, what are you doing? Is it really about the oil or is it really about the drugs? And he admitted, he said he wants the oil. He said it. I'm not making this up. Yeah, he acts like he owns it. Matter of fact, he said that's our land. That's our oil. He said that. I said, what? That's your oil and that's your land? No, it's not. And when you say these things, you're pushing people. What I'm trying to get him to understand, when you act this way, when you talk this way, you're pushing people back. You're pushing them away. And people say, you know what? I ain't gonna want to do trade with the U.S. anymore. I'm not gonna buy their food. I'm not gonna buy their products. I'm not gonna buy their liquor. I'm not gonna buy their wine. I don't want to have anything to do with the U.S. anymore. But countries, the international community, saying that they want Maduro to be released now. They want him out of jail now.
Those things are all very real. But here's what's also real. The United States doesn't care about any of that when it happens to countries that support its interests.
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
None of those are democracies.
Nope.
But they are allies.
Mm-hmm.
We don't call them dictatorships. We just call them partners.
Mm-hmm.
It's very selective in how it goes about it. It's about who's allowed to have power and who's allowed to sell their oil and to whom.
Mm-hmm.
Because when a country like Venezuela teams up with countries like China or Russia, then all of a sudden their elections start to become really important for some reason.
Yep, you remember what I told you? And that is what Maduro was doing. He was teaming up with China, Russia, South Africa, and the BRICS. That is what he was doing, going around the sanctions, because was like I told you guys before, we are going into a multipolar world. What do I mean by a multipolar world? When each country is responsible for its own destiny and trade the way it wants to trade. Okay? It's not based on how you trade by one country that dictates everything like the U.S. See, the problem with the U.S., it wants to be the dictator of the whole world. It wants to control everything. But people want to trade in their own currency and to trade the way that they want to do it. Not the way how we, everything has to be dictated by what we say or what we do. Let's see. The European Union agreed with removing Maduro. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Even the European Union. And Trump has distanced himself from the European Union too. I noticed that. That's a whole nother different conversation. Let's see. See, I got that drug lord out of there. He F around and found out. Okay. Man, there's a lot of trolls on this live tonight. Oh my God. There's a lot of trolls on here. You are a complete fool. Why you say that? Why you say I'm a fool? I'm giving you pure knowledge here, and you call me fool. Why you say that? Man, there's a lot of trolls on this live tonight. This is crazy. This is what Razor Ray warned me about all these trolls. Transito time. I don't know what you mean by that, Easy.
All of a sudden, human rights become a priority, and there's an urgency to fix the problem. It's the same pattern we've seen again and again. Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, even Syria. And I remember noticing this first back in like 2008.
The more victories you amass, the easier the next victory becomes. The first victory in Afghanistan makes the second victory in Iraq that much easier. The second victory in Iraq will make the third victory that much easier too.
Now looking back at it, it's so obvious how the same story just keeps repeating. The invasion of Iraq, for example, was sold to us partially under the guise of freedom and democracy.
Right, that's what I'm saying. See, you guys don't remember the Iraq War. Y'all, I don't know, because most of you guys was very young back then. Most of y'all were young back then during the Iraq War. But it's the same thing. They're selling us the same thing. And what I'm telling you is going to end the same way, because when you invade a country, those people out there dancing, and thank you, thank you for getting rid of Maduro. Thank you. He was a criminal. He was this. He was corrupt, and he was stealing and all this stuff, which could be. I'm not saying he wasn't. But then when you stay there, when you had troops there in Venezuela, U.S. troops, then people look at you as a occupier. And that's what happened in Iraq. And that's what happened in Afghanistan. And then it becomes a war, sectarian violence. That's what they call it. When you would have actually the people, the locals, fighting against the military and stuff, joining militias and forces and stuff. Matter of fact, I read an article, and some of the Colombian militias, like the ELN, saying they will fight. They say they will fight. See, this haven't started yet. This haven't. If Trump talking about staying there, because he said we're going to stay here for a while until we have somebody that we can put in there. How can you do that? How can a foreign country come into another country and say, we're going to tell you who's going to be your leader? You can't do that. They're doing it now. A lot of countries is not using the U.S. dollar. Yeah, matter of fact, South Africa just signed a partnership with China using the SIP system. It's a cross-border payment system that they do in trade with the yuan and not with dollars. They just did that 3 weeks ago. It's happening all over Africa. More and more countries are leaving the dollar. They are. And your Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, what he does is not just overlook the overall economy, but he has to look for customers to buy U.S. bonds. But guess what? They're liquidating. They're not buying.
Libya, same thing. It was about protecting people from Gaddafi, but it turned into another power vacuum. Then Syria, Afghanistan, which was supposed to end terrorism and rebuild democracy. Every one of these conflicts started with the same premise: doing the right moral thing.
No.
And every time, the result's always the same: instability and another country.
This has nothing, like I said before, with shame, light switches. This has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal at all. I'm not involved, none of that. I look at the economic facts. That's what I do. Okay. I'm just saying the decisions that's being made is going to hurt us down the line. It will.
Left in ruins, more immigration and refugees coming to the US to seek asylum. So the point is to sell a story to as many people as possible. There have to be multiple appeals to value in order to.
Wait a minute, hold on. You said you're a vet. No, I'm not a vet, Light Switch. No, I'm not a vet. But you should understand this. If you're a vet, Light Switch, how old are you? What is your age? Were you in Desert Storm? Were you in Desert Storm? Light Switch, you should know about this stuff. If you're a vet, yeah, they did. They sure did. They sure did. Yep. Yep. Trinidad and Tobago did. Yes, they did. Yep.
Convince someone that going to war is a good idea. So then the question is, if all of those narratives are what they want us to think, what's the real reason then? And the real reason is the same thing I've been mentioning in all my videos.
Mm-hmm.
It's about getting control over resources, holding on to influence, and keeping oil out of China's hands, and sort of reminding the rest of the world, even if the US can't control everything anymore, it can still punish those who step out of line. So let me explain.
So let me ask you a question, Light Switch. Did we have any of those wars that we've participated in, did it help the situation? Did it help any of this war in Afghanistan and Iraq and Vietnam? What did we get out of those wars? What? So that's what I'm saying. What did we get? What did we get out of it? And matter of fact, what did they promise the people of Venezuela if they're going to do regime change? Because that's what they wanted to do in the first place, to put a new leader in there. Oh, wow, we're getting a lot of trolls in here, boy. Oh, wow. Wow.
What I mean by this, because it's both complex and very, very simple. And here's the simple explanation.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Obviously, it's always been about oil, but it's also something bigger. It's
what does that have to, why would you ask a question like that, Captain? I like everybody. Why wouldn't I? What does that have to do with what we're talking about? Absolutely. All the money was spent in military service could have given every American citizen free health care. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. But I got people on this live that's asking really like silly questions. And I'm just talking about war after war after war. What did we benefit from those wars? Nothing. It's the same scenario over and over and over and over again. What did we get out of Iraq? Nothing. What did we get out of Afghanistan? Nothing. This is just common sense. And what I'm saying is the situation that's happening in Venezuela is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just like we will have learned our lesson, you know what I'm saying? From all the other wars.
About influence over the world. It's control of who gets to decide the price of oil and the price and the strength of a currency, and eventually the balance of world power. Now, Venezuela, again, sits on the biggest proven oil reserves in the world,
Right.
roughly 300 billion barrels,
Yes.
more than Saudi Arabia, more than Iran, more than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it so valuable and so important.
Mm-hmm.
For decades, the US has relied on this cheap energy and the dominance of the US dollar to settle these oil transactions. And
His
it
name
helped
is Andre
reinforce that
Jace.
system.
That's his name.
That's where
Real
the term
cool
petrodollar
guy.
comes from. Every barrel traded through this petrodollar system has strengthened America's position. But over the last few years, I think we've seen the acceleration of this sort of crack. China and Russia, for example, have been building their own network and teaming up so that they could bypass the dollar. That's why we keep hearing about de-dollarization and BRICS expansion.
Yeah.
And while all of this is happening, the US was sanctioning Venezuelan oil.
Right.
So China was like, hey, we'll help you out, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll lend you the money.
Mm-hmm.
China becomes Venezuela's biggest creditor.
Mm-hmm.
So far, it has lent at least $60 billion to keep its economy alive, at least that we know of publicly. And in return, China got long-term access to that oil.
Mm-hmm.
So every barrel Venezuela has
Right.
strengthens China's energy security.
Mm-hmm.
It weakens U.S. leverage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when the two presidents met recently, Xi didn't even look like he needed or wanted to be there. That's a position of power.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. It's not necessarily that Venezuela is corrupt or its economy is bad or that they mistreat their people, regardless if those things are true or not. When you combine that with what's happening around the world, with Saudi Arabia joining BRICS and Russia weaponizing its energy exports and China making oil deals in yuan backed by gold, the U.S. sort of watching its influence in the world slowly disappear. That's really scary.
And that's what's happening. The U.S. influence around the world is starting to disappear. That's the biggest problem. So they had to snatch Venezuela because you had the biggest oil supplier in the world trading in yuans and rubles, but not in dollars. They had to stop that. They had to stop that. They couldn't let that go. So that's why you have the invasion that's happening in Venezuela. But the problem is it's not going to work. They made the situation much worse. They made de-dollarization much quicker.
Country whose global power has been built on the ability to control the flow of that energy and the value of money. Now, I did say, though, at the start of this part that the real answer was both complicated and very, very simple. So that was the simple explanation. But I also think there's a slightly more complicated, nuanced answer for why all of this is sort of happening.
A Israel hacia una autodestrucción. y además está escalando los niveles de violencia. Fue Estados Unidos y le rindieron pleitesía toda la élite estadounidense. Toda. Hasta los que lo criticaban, hasta los que dijeron que no lo iban a ver, lo tuvieron que ver. Y entonces él se fue de Estados Unidos con la carta blanca para bombardear Irán, el Líbano, bombardear a todo el Medio Oriente, a los pueblos árabes, a los pueblos musulmanes.
So that was a criticism of one of America's most powerful allies. Now, I'm not saying that that is the reason the U.S. has a bounty on Venezuela's president, which it does, but I think it's one of many powerful incentives that make this story what it is. And in a way, the story is sort of about what happens in the modern day to a country that defies very powerful interests. And what's even more interesting is how the U.S. is going about this, because we're not seeing troops on the ground. The U.S. doesn't need to invade anyone. It just has to cut them off. For some countries, that works, like in the case of Venezuela. And for some countries, it doesn't. Countries like Russia and China. They're just too big and too independent at this point. But by leaving Venezuela out of the global banking system, the U.S. made it almost impossible for the country to trade and to ship oil or even buy parts for its infrastructure. Insurance companies don't want to touch them. Ships avoid their ports. So, yeah, of course their economy is going to collapse into corruption. We're like, see, you guys need freedom and capitalism. But I think there's an irony to all of this, which is the harder the U.S. squeezes, the more Venezuela turns to countries like China and Russia and Iran for help.
Right.
That's how new alliances are created here. It's not because they share the same values. It's because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Every time the U.S. pushes someone out of the dollar system, that country joins a long list of countries that are like, yo, join the club, right? So that's exactly what we're watching right now. It's the creation of a new energy/monetary system that runs without the U.S. in the middle of it. Saudi Arabia is joining BRICS. China signing oil deals in yuan backed by gold now. Russia's trading energy through its own payment networks. Venezuela is sort of helping energize that system by shipping oil to China outside the dollar. All of it, over time, I think, contributes to this chart, the slow erosion of U.S. dollar leverage. And once you lose control of that, you lose control of everything.
Yep, that's it. That's it. When you lose control over the dollar, that's it. And it's happening as we speak. So that's why everybody join my membership. I'm doing a wealth building videos. Okay? And join my WhatsApp app group when you join the membership here. YouTube membership join. Okay, we got to start building wealth, man. We got to do that. Okay? We got to do that. We got to start building wealth. And that's what I'm doing. I want to show you how to do it. We're going to do it together. Okay, I just put out a video this Friday. Okay, I think I got so far, there's about 5 people in the group so far. So let's keep growing this let's keep growing this, y'all. Let's grow this community. We got to help each other. Okay? Yeah. Easy, it's so good to see you, man. It's so good to see you. Yeah, I was watching the video for Miko, who knows Miko Worldwide, the YouTuber, content creator. Yeah, he sent me a video yesterday. People was in the streets of the Dominican Republic. They were dancing, celebrating the removal of Maduro. Yeah, that is kind of crazy. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, Stan, join my membership, man, so we can make some money. Matter of fact, let me tell y'all this. Robinhood, that's what I trade on. Robinhood was giving away free money during Christmas, all the way up to New Year's Eve. Yes, and they was giving away free stock. Free stock. They gave me some Bitcoin. They gave me some Ethereum. and they gave me Doge. They gave me some Doge. Yeah, you sent me the post too. Yeah, yeah. Miko Worldwide sent me something too. Yeah, he sent me the video. There was all that. I mean, it was like maybe hundreds of people out there dancing, celebrating Maduro and the U.S. invasion, which I don't understand. But that's the same exact thing I seen in Desert Storm when we liberated. Well, we supposed to have liberated Iraq from Saddam Hussein, and people was dancing around. Thank you, George Bush. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then those same people that was out there dancing became our enemy. They became our enemy. We became occupiers. Say what those foreigners doing, and they need to get out. Okay, you did what you did. We want you to get out. That's what happened. Yeah. Wow, this was a pretty big live tonight. Wow, a lot of people tonight. Wow, wow. Let me see. We got 16. Yeah, keep hitting that like button, y'all. So I'm gonna open it up. If you guys have any questions, ask me now before I end this live. If you have any questions about whatever we just talked about, any questions, any geoeconomic questions you have, just ask me in this live, in the comments here. He said, the situation is going to affect the economy and the city. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I'm really afraid of. Because I was supposed to be going back to Colombia in May to see Cookie again. But you know, I wanted, because I'm going to be honest with you, while I'm in Colombia, while I'm in Medellin, I run into a lot of Venezuelans. I run into a lot of them. And you know what I'm going to do? This may be lying a little bit. I'm not going to tell them I'm from the U.S. They ask me where I'm from. I'm going to say I'm from Portugal or something. No. What should I tell them I'm from? Maybe from an African country or something. Or I could tell them I'm from Canada or something. But I'm not going to tell them I'm from the U.S. I'm serious, man. I ain't gonna tell them where I'm from. I'm gonna tell them I'm from the African country. I'm from Zimbabwe, man. I gotta work on my accent. No, I guess I'm from Jamaica or something. Shoot, it'd be dangerous for Americans to be walking around in Latin America right now. Because, you know, there was some loss of life during the invasion. And I heard that Maduro's the people that protect him was unalive cold-bloodedly. The word invasion, what I think it means, that means to take over, to infiltrate. That's what invasion means. You said what accent? You said nobody's going to believe me. I got to work on it, okay? I got some work to do. I got to work on my accent. Oh, I just don't say nothing at all. Just walk around. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I just figured it out. I just put a mask on, you know, when people, we remember when COVID was around and people put those masks on, I just walk around with a mask and I won't say anything. Maybe they'll leave me alone. Yeah, I tell them I'm from Costa Rica. Yeah, I tell them from Costa Rica. But you know what? When you go through immigration, when you go through customs, guess what? They're going to see your passport. Oh, man. That's going to give it away right there. And then when you get to the hotel, when I go to the resort, the first thing they ask for is the passport so they can make a copy of it. And they're going to see right on there where I'm from. Yeah, it's going to be dangerous, man. It's going to be real dangerous traveling around. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Because the longer they hold Maduro, the more angry people are going to get. That's what I think is going to happen. And they got his wife, too. They captured his wife looks so nice. His wife looks so nice, Maduro's wife. I don't know. When I see her, I can kind of read her. So she seems like she's a really nice lady, you know. Just me, that's all. She said, it's not going to affect the entire world. We are still dealing with consequences. Yeah, right. You know what, Diogenes 25, you hit it right on the nose, man. You hit it right on the nail, brother. Yep. Yep, you make a lot of sense on here. Yep. We're still dealing with the consequences of Afghanistan and Iraq. Yep. Both of those wars, I told you. And we're making the same mistake. The same mistake. He said that made me laugh. Open your mouth and have the mask. You'll never get away. Come on, y'all. Y'all supposed to be helping me with my disguise. I gotta come up with a disguise. I gotta come up with this. Oh, you know what? You know what I can do? You know what I can do, y'all? I could be Geraldine. Dress up like a woman, put a wig on and everything. Y'all never watched the Flip Wilson show, did y'all? Sometimes he would dress up, you know, like he'd put on the wig and everything, and he would call himself Geraldine. Okay. Yeah, he said Cuba. That's what he said. I don't know, man. No, I'm not from the South. Actually, I'm from Michigan. I'm from here, Michigan. But my family has a lot. I have a lot of family from the South, though. My grandfather and my grandmother, all of them, they did come from the South. Yeah, our roots are in the South. My great grandparents and my grandparents and them, their roots are in the South, Georgia and Texas. Yeah, they're from Georgia and Texas. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I never moved to the South because, I have a job here, and, I'm working here. So I just wouldn't. The only time I probably would move, because you know what? Let me tell you guys something that just happened before I started this live. Cookie just sent me a message and she was just so sad. She was so sad. I got to get back to Colombia as soon as possible. She sent me a picture looking really sad because, I've been away for a while. Yeah, it is warmer. So I want to move to Medellin. I want to move to Colombia. I do. That was my plan. That was my plan on moving to Colombia, to Medellin. I love Medellin. I love the climate. I love the chicas. I love the food. To me, it's like every day is Friday there. I just love it there. The restaurants, the people, they treat me really, really nice. But I don't know where this Venezuela thing is going to take us. Now he's threatening Gustavo Petro. He said, "You're next. You're next." You know what? I use it when I do have a phone. When I have it out, I use something like this so they won't be interested in it. This is an old phone. You know what I'm saying? But my good phone, I keep it hid, in my safe deposit box. Sometimes I may pull it out. Sometimes when I'm doing content, but when I'm in a taxi or whatever or Uber, when I pull out a phone, I pull out this one. That way, they won't be enticed or trying to rob you for your phone. I hope you don't go for Greenland, man. Greenland does. Yes, somebody said Greenland has a military. No, they do have a military. Greenland does have a military, and they say they're ready to fight. They're ready to fight. He said, "I am a fan, Tom. I know I shouldn't know, but something I forget. Wait a minute, what's that type of phone? Oh, this is a Samsung phone. This is a Google. It's a Samsung Galaxy phone, but it's an old one though. Oh, easy man. You in Bogota? Yeah, yeah, Bogota. But Bogota, it's like it's hard to breathe there. Because it's so you know, it's like you elevated up into the mountains. Sometimes it's hard to breathe when you walk around Bogota. Medellin is special. I don't know what it is about that place, but I just love it. I think the chicas and everybody there and the food. I mean, when I go to the resort, it's like I'm spoiled, man. They spoiled the mess out of me. It's like they'd be so glad to see me when I get there. It's like they'd be like, "Oh my God, Tony!" They would actually come from around the desk and just give me a big old hug. I have my bags in my hand, my suitcase. They give me a big hug. They say, "Oh, we're so glad to see you. Here, you want something to drink? What you want?" It's like they just all over me, man. And then the guy, he just grabbed my bags and take it to my room. Then they bring me a cold bottled water. So here's a cold bottle of water for you. Can we get you? They just treat me like a king, literally a king. Do you want chicas? What do you want? You want food? What do you like? What do you want? And then they have this real big grand breakfast in the morning. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They have this big old grand breakfast, man. Wow. Fruit. What they do is they make me a what's the name of that fruit that grows there? Um what's the name of that fruit, guys? They have in Colombia. It's everywhere. And they make juice from it too. God, I can't even think of it. Can somebody help me? What is the name of that fruit? Yeah, they have pancakes. Yeah, yeah. They made me pancakes, everything. Yes. Um, mangoes. Yes. They made me that mango juice and they make me that watermelon juice. Fresh, man. Fresh. It'd be cold and good, man. Sometimes they'll knock on the door and they'd be like, knock on the door. Say, we got something for you. Mango juice, man. And it'd be cold and nice. Oh, dragon fruit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mango. Yeah, mango juice. Yeah. That stuff is really good, man. And I don't know, just something about it. Just everything is green and everything is it's just where I'm there where you can look out my window, you can see the mountains and the clouds just come down on the mountains every morning. Sometimes you may hear a little thunder coming from the mountain. It's just beautiful, man. And then where I be at, it's like they have a big bird collection. It's like you have these tropical birds, that comes, they sit on the window and they sit on the ledge. Here we go. You look at the door, you look out the window, you got this big old Fruit Loop bird, with these like beautiful feathers on it. Big old bird like this big. with a big, huge beak. Yeah, yeah, you just be relaxing. Yeah, I just be relaxing. Me and my little shorty, we be relaxing by the pool, just relaxing, man. And then we'll walk to the mall. The mall's not that far, too. The mall's not that far. They got grocery stores in there. They got ATMs in there. They got clothing. I mean, everything you want. And then they have like lots of security everywhere. Security's everywhere. So you can take your phone out and do content around there, and nobody's going to mess with you because they got police everywhere. Yeah, stress free. Yeah, stress free. Yeah, stress free. Stress free. Yeah. And then they look out for you too. Like, because what I was going to do one night, let me tell you what happened. How they was looking out for me. I was getting ready to go to Provenza and do some content in Provenza, right? So I'm walking out with my camera in my hand. I had a GoPro. Let me show y'all. This is what I use sometimes to do content with. This is my GoPro. This is what I use right here. This is the GoPro camera. So I'm walking out, and so one of the guys there said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm getting ready to go to Provenza to do some content, some nightlife stuff, He said, "I wouldn't go out there if I were you." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because," he said, "the police are doing mass arrest. They're arresting people." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, if you go out there, there's a possibility they will grab you and harass you and possibly take you to jail." I was like, "Oh, wow." He said, "Don't go out right now. Stay here." Say, "Stay here at the resort. What you want? We got all the drinks you want. We got everything you want. Chicas, whatever you want. Hey, you know, stay here. You got everything you need." So I didn't even go out that night. I stayed inside. I know you can't live in fear, but I listen to what they tell me. But I really got good allies that they really look out for my well-being there. Yeah, yeah. Say, what about transportation? Remember suspicious taxis and Uber drivers. Yeah, you have to be careful with them. Yeah. I'm planning, you know what, Shadow Man? I'm planning on going back. I'm planning on going back in May or April. I gotta get there, man, because one of my female friends, that always there with me there, she sent me a text, and she sent me a very sad face like this, just looking like this, like, when you're coming back. But what's really hurting me right now, because in the past I used to go twice a year. I used to go doing maybe in May, April, and May, and then I turn around and go again, and maybe in September, October again. I would make 2 trips a year. But inflation, man, that just really just sopped up my savings. Everything is much more expensive. Yeah, I look forward to going back. I was there in September of last year. I was there in September of last year. But I just hope but what's really scaring me, what kind of scared me, I just hope things don't get out of control in Venezuela. Because this stuff is just getting started. This stuff is just getting started, what's happening in Venezuela. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The dollar is going down. And matter of fact, the dollar didn't really do that well in Colombia the last time I was there. It didn't do that well. Matter of fact, there were some things that was more expensive using dollars. Yeah. So you all are stupid. Why you say, Sandra? Why you say we all not stupid. You say it's a technical strike, not invasion. We left in 30 minutes. Wow. But he did say, Tamika May, he did say that we was going to stay there for a while. So I know he's talking about it's see what I'm trying to tell you, this is going to end up like what happened with Afghanistan and Iraq. Watch what I tell you. It's the same thing. Say the same thing. Matter of fact, George W. Bush said the same thing, what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. The Maduro situation is going to change a lot. It's going to change a lot. And the more they keep him, the more angry people are going to get. I hope it's not the end of it. I'm not saying it's the end of the show, but we're gonna have to be more, how can I say, um, more aware of our surroundings. I'm just gonna put it like that. I'm not saying not to go, go ahead and go. Because I'm definitely going. But I'm at to really, because the thing is, even before the situation with Venezuela, things was getting kind of tight down there anyway. The passport bros was leaving very bad reputations in Colombia. Yep, it starts, that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to tell you, it starts off that way, but then it gets ugly. That's what happened in Iraq and in Afghanistan. When we invaded Iraq and got rid of Saddam Hussein, the Iraqis were dancing, some of them were dancing. And then they grabbed, they used this rope and they pulled this Saddam statue down. They pulled it down and everything. They say, thank you, George Bush. Thank you, U.S. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But guess what? They were liberators, and then they became occupiers. And then they flipped on them. Said, we want you out. Get out. We don't want you here anymore. Get out. Get out of our country. This is our country. That's what happened. Those same people that was laughing and smiling and jumping around became our enemies. Yeah, right, absolutely, Jason. Right, right. The international community said that was illegal. They said it was illegal. Yeah, said we're doing it from the sky now. Yep, yep, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's correction everywhere. I do agree with you, but what I'm saying is I'm talking about the people. I'm talking about sectarian violence. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you go down there as a liberator, they're gonna like you. But when you are a foreigner, you look at you like you don't belong there still. It's gonna come to the point where they ain't gonna want you there no more. It happens all the time. So okay, you did your thing. Okay, get out. See, Cap, y'all are a crazy move. Okay. Yeah, some of them are. Some of them are celebrating. Some of them are celebrating because they didn't like Maduro. They thought he was corrupt. But you got to look at the whole motive of what's going on. You got to look at what is the real motive why they went to Venezuela, why the U.S. went to Venezuela. It's over oil. They didn't mention nothing about the people, not one time. I haven't heard it. Right, I already told you why he did that. I did the whole video I did today for the last couple of hours. I told you the reason why he did it. Absolutely. There you go, Shadow Man. Yep. Celebrate until you realize that slavery is worse than property. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just saying, each time that they did this, it doesn't end well. It didn't. And they did this like 5 times. Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, what else? Vietnam. Okay? How many times you have to keep doing this when you know it doesn't work? It said, we have more oil than everyone. You all are dumb. No, Venezuela is the largest oil reserve, Sandra. Venezuela has the number one oil reserve in the world. It has over 313 billion barrels of oil. Venezuela is number one. Then I think Saudi Arabia is like number two. Yeah, they're already there. He said he's going to do something. He said Trump said he's going to establish a leader there before we leave. He said we're going to temporarily take over Venezuela. That's what he said. That came out. I didn't make this up. It came out of his mouth. I said, "Uh-oh, here we go again. Here we go again. Get ready." Yeah, it's low grade crude oil. Right, right, right. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. There was a thriving democracy 25 years ago. Yeah, sure was. Until they nationalized everything. Yeah, and then they put sanctions on them. That's what happened. Yeah, there was a thriving country. Yes. Let me see how many people on there. 43 people on here. Hey, y'all, before we go, make sure you hit that like button. And make sure y'all join my membership for my wealth building videos, okay? And let me know on WhatsApp too, okay? My number is 248-653-9666. I'm going to come out with another video this Friday. I got some good stock tips for you, and we're going to build wealth. And then eventually what we're going to do is we're going to start purchasing gold. I use Robinhood. That's my platform. If you have E-Trade, if you have Moomoo, any type of brokerage account, it's okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this live stream. Hope you guys got something out of this, okay? It was good talking to everybody. He said, Tony is right. He was doing big peppermint. I don't want this orange man to invade Colombia. Oh, y'all so great. Yeah, yeah, really. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that would be a disaster. But he did make a threat to Gustavo Petro, though. He did. He said, "You're next." Yeah, you're next. But Gustavo Petro is almost end of his term, though. I think he only has a few months left being president of Colombia anyway. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Physical is better. Absolutely, Shadow Band. Yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, if this is your first time being on this channel, make sure you like and subscribe, okay? Like and subscribe. Hit the more like buttons. And don't forget to join my membership. I'm telling you, we're going to build wealth on this channel, okay? And on the WhatsApp community, if there's anything that's going on economically that you should know, I'm going to be sending things on there too. And you have 24/7 access to me if you have any questions about anything that's going on around the world, okay? All right? So that membership will be very helpful to you. It's only, what, $2.99 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee that you're buying me every month. Thank you too, Shadow Band. Thank you for your wisdom too. Thank you for yours. Let me see. I asked you about Fashion Nova. Can you wear that in Colombia? It's not. Yeah, you'll be all right. Yeah, you should be okay. But just don't look too flashy. You know, just don't look flashy. Try to blend in. When I go to Colombia, I just blend in. I don't wear loud stuff, yellow, orange, or gold, and like I'm some type of pimp or something. I wear stuff like this actually. Wear a cap on my head, nice little clean shirt, blue jeans. You know, just look casual. All right, guys. I love you all very much. Thank you all for the super chats and everything. Thank you all for the gifts. Thank you for the likes. Like and subscribe. Join the membership. And I will see y'all in the next video, okay? Something comes up, I'll be right back on here again. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Thank you. I love you all very much. Thank you. God bless.